Patriots! Wow. What a trip. My second one on a mission to save my country. This time, I discovered that moose aren't particularly patriotic. As some of you have seen, we had a little run-in with one. We drove 40 hours from Saskatoon to get here. Straight. Minus 5 hours for a brake job in the Sioux. Thanks to the Sioux Proust Motors, by the way, for getting us in and accommodating our desperate need. So, they say, if you build it, they will come. Yep. And today, they came. Woo! You came. Yeah. I've organized a lot of rallies, been involved in a lot of entities that are fighting a lot of the issues related to the UN, as Greg had mentioned. And bringing people together against the monster that is globalism is a tough job. People don't want to hear the truth. They're too scared of the truth because the truth truly is scary. If you admit and you absorb the information, it's very overwhelming. So I get it. I understand the fight that I'm in, that all these speakers are in, that all you folks are in, busting through the narrative. The narrative that's created by our politicians, by our establishment, by the media, by Hollywood, by TV, by radio, by our education system, by the bureaucracy. Everywhere we turn, we're inundated with what the UN wants us to do. You know, I'm a small town prairie boy that happens to love his country deeply. And I do this, and I stick my head out to be chopped off by Antifas, by the media, by the naysayers, because I take this as a responsibility, it's a duty. Veterans, throughout the history of our country, have given the ultimate sacrifice so we can stand here today and fight the group, the entity, the globalists that are trying to destroy exactly what we're doing. They died for our right to do this. This is my responsibility. I don't want to do this. I'd rather be in a canoe in the bush somewhere fishing. Look at me. That's where I belong. I don't belong in a podium in Ottawa, but I have to do this. You have to do this. Canadians that share a set of common values across this country from coast to coast have to do this. Because those core values are under direct attack by the UN, by the globalists. Listen, they've been planning, I'm not going to go into this whole thing. If you guys want to learn, if you're not familiar with the UN and the UN Sustainable Development Agenda, these days there's lots of opportunity to learn. Go to my YouTube channel, it's full of it. You can learn. The point of it is, these guys, this entity, this communist, fascist entity, and that's exactly what it is. Don't kid yourself, don't let anyone tell you anything different. That's exactly what they are. They've been at this since before World War I. This game has been played since before World War I. There was the revolutionary communists, there was the Fabian communists. What we've seen for over 100 years is drip, drip, drip. Get into the education system, get into our media, into the bureaucracy, all aspects, so they can fulfill the goals. Now they have a little thing called the UN Sustainable Development Agenda. That's a mechanism to achieve their goals of global governance. They are dictating, and they have for quite some time. This isn't new, it's on steroids right now. They've been planning this for a very long time. And if we don't take the responsibility to oppose that and defend our sovereignty, defend our freedom,
stand up,
defend our liberty, defend justice, for Christ's sake, these guys won't do it. We see that. Norman Travesey just walked to the American Embassy to identify the corruption. So maybe the Americans can help. But the more we come together, the more we unite under the common values that we share, the values of freedom, the values of liberty and justice and sovereignty for our nation. Our nation is the best nation on the planet. Not because of those people, because of you people. Right, Don Cherry? It's you people. And I love each and every one of you people. Because it's you people that are going to defend our country, take it back, own it, and kick the globalists the hell out. Wow, this is fun. I had an opportunity to do this when I was on the United We Roll convoy that made it to Ottawa. Give a big round of applause for that group. And when I got to Ottawa, I was pretty pumped up because I finally had an opportunity to speak at this place in defense of my country. And it was a decent crowd. It was minus a billion. We were stuck in the snow. They didn't allow us on the cement. But it was an opportunity to reach people. And I'm so grateful that I've been given another opportunity to do that. It's incredibly important that we create our own platforms. The media's not here. Where's the mainstream media? Not to be found. Not to be found. Because they're scared of the truth. They're scared of assisting us in promoting the truth.
ABC sucks.
There's a media compact under Sustainable Development Agenda that all media companies have signed on to. It's why our government pays our media to promote their narrative. It's all there. And all of this information we get called conspiracy theorists for is promoted by the UN. It's all out there for all to see. If somebody calls you a conspiracy theorist based on this information, they're simply lazy. They're simply lazy. That's it. So, as much fun as this is, and I could probably command this mic for a long time talking about this, we have a whole list of fantastic speakers yet to come. Oh, what happened now? Hang on a sec. I had a note here that I needed, and I went and deleted it. Boomer tech. Boomer tech, and I'm not even a boomer. Recently deleted. There it is. I found it. No, is that true? Okay. So we found it. I resurrected it. So we opened the day with O Canada. And just as a side note, that was my wife's recording. So she couldn't be here with us, but I wanted to incorporate that into this. But you see what happens with our anthem. As much as it inspires this sense of pride, and I sing tears during the anthem, and I get choked up every time I hear it, doesn't matter where I am.
Can we sing again?
But what we do, give me a minute, I'm getting there. But what we tend to do is ignore the words, right? We just collectively sort of ignore the words of the song and what they really mean. So I'm going to actually speak the anthem, and I want you guys to join me. Instead of singing it, I just want you to speak it, and I want you to think about the words, because it identifies what we all need to be doing. Oh Canada.
Oh Canada.
Our home and native land.
Home and native land.
True patriot love.
True patriot love.
in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts, and they are glowing.
Yes.
We see thee rise. We're seeing the rise. The true north. Strong and free. From far and wide. Oh, Canada. We stand on guard for thee.
We stand on guard for thee.
Glorious and free.
Glorious and free.
Oh, Canada. We all stand on guard for thee. God keep our land. Glorious and free. Thank you. So just one last note on that. You know, when we think of Canada, sometimes a lot of people think of the government. Please don't do that. Canada, when we sing about Canada, when we defend our country, Canada is the people. Without the people, Canada doesn't exist. So just think about that the next time that you sing your anthem. Think about what it means to you, to your kids, to your grandkids, to your family, your community. It's too important to let this go. It's too important to let the globalists take more control than they already have. We'll lose everything we have. We've seen it. We've seen it around the world. Socialism take over and destroy countries.
They banned
Destroy
hundreds of
peoples.
jobs. Yeah. Wow.
So, I know it's Canada Day, but we do have an ally in this fight, because this fight is global. It's 100% global. It's an attack on Western civilization and the values that represents. There is a quote by a man who is under attack down south by the name of Donald Trump. You can criticize Donald Trump if you like, as a person, whatever, but that man represents Western civilization. That man represents sovereignty. That man represents the nation state. He's working for his nation state. We need to work for our nation state. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a quote. So Donald Trump says, when leaders always put the interests of their own people and their own country first, the future does not belong to the globalists. It belongs to the patriots. I agree. Fear nothing, love everything. I always end my YouTubes with globalism, bad, nationalism, good. I'm not afraid, and I'm almost done, Greg. Keep the cane at bay. I'm not afraid to refer myself as a nationalist. The establishment, the bureaucracy, the system has done a pretty good job of making that a bad word, just like being a patriot is somehow a bad word, even though it's in our national anthem. But I am a nationalist. I'm a Canadian nationalist. I don't put any colors, I don't put any other prefixes in front of nationalist. I'm a Canadian nationalist, and I'm damn proud of it. And all that means is I advocate for the sovereignty of my nation. That's it. That's all that means. We have to bust through the narrative that's been created that demonizes this, that demonizes people for loving their country, to the point where they make fun of you for referring yourself as a patriot, which is why I named my YouTube the Grizzly Patriot. Because we gotta bust through it. And it's our job to do that. So anyways, folks, thank you all, each and one of you, for coming, for supporting this event. Enormous. We are going to move the dial in Canada. Holy, like we got, I think 3,500, maybe 4,000 at peak there earlier. They're all coming back. We did awesome. And every one of us, if we reach 10 people, educate 10 people, they'll educate 10 people. And very near future, we'll have it back. Thanks, everybody.